Hey everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at DisneyPlus.com. A quick news update for you guys on how Disney have looked like they found a partner to buy their Indian business. But before we go any further, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. So over the last few months, there has been lots and lots of reports that Disney has been looking to sell some or all of its assets in India. So they, back in 2019, bought 20th Century Fox. As part of that, they picked up Star India, which they later rebranded as Disney Star. And in there, they have a whole host of different businesses. So they've got Star Studios, which make loads of Bollywood films. They've also got an array of sports channels and linear channels. I think there's about like 70 plus channels that they own in India. They also have little businesses and stuff around the world as well. Things like here in the UK, we have like Hotstar, and they have other channels as such. But the big one obviously as well is they had the streaming service Hotstar, which they rebranded to Disney Plus Hotstar. At one point it had over 60 plus million subscribers. However, when Disney decided not to bid for the Indian Cricket League rights, they lost about 20 million subscribers because people were just there for the cricket and they left. Now Disney have been trying to kind of boost up their numbers a little bit and trying to get more people that are engaged in Disney's content rather than focusing on the cricket. That's something that they've been doing. But they have been looking at ways of changing their business, maybe bringing in a strategic partner, selling off some of the assets, or even selling all of the business. Now, according to a recent article from Bloomberg, they have been talking with a number of different businesses, including Sun TV, New Delhi, even Sony was reported last week. But it looks like Reliance is going to be the one that's going to get the deal done. They are huge. Gilo is there. They have this huge streaming service. They have got loads of money, one of the richest men in Asia. So he's looking to buy it. It looks like it's going to be a cash and stock options. Now Disney may keep a minority company in it, or they might just completely get out. They're still apparently working on stuff. It could be announced as early as next month. There is a quarterly results coming up on November the 8th. That would be a nice time to do it. Apparently the business has been valued between like 8 and 9 billion, maybe up to 10 billion, which would nicely counter off that from that purchase of Hulu, which could be around about 9 billion from Comcast. So they've kind of sell one, buy one. And so they'll be sort of equal, which I think in some ways, that's why I want to get into this a little bit more. But yeah, that's probably a major aspect. Now, basically as well, with the Indian content that they create, they've not been making as much money as they were hoping. It has been losing money. They've also been losing subscribers. Key thing with a Hotstar subscriber to be aware of. Every subscriber on Disney Plus, they make a certain amount of money from it. Now, in India, they make about 60 cents per subscriber per month, compared to like here in Europe and in America, they can make about $7 per subscriber. So that's why there is a big issue where with like losing 20 million subscribers in India sounds a lot. And if that had happened in America, that would have been horrendous. With it happening in India, obviously with the value of a customer is nearly about 10 to 1. So 20 million subscribers in India would be equivalent of like maybe 2 to 3 million subscribers from Europe and the US unsubscribing. So that's just to kind of put it into relation there. So there is an issue there. So obviously Disney are trying to be a little bit more focused on making profits. And this is something that they, the India business is somewhere where they're looking at. I don't think Disney are as focused on India as maybe they should be. They're much more focused on being in the US and a global entity. They are focusing their streaming services on being global, where their shows and their films are seen around the world. And local content is important to them, but it's only going to be important to them in some countries where they're making money. And they've even said that the Disney Plus might not even exist in some countries. Now, with regards to what's going on, we don't know what's going to happen next. Disney could just sell off all the linear networks. They might sell off the sports access and all the bits and pieces and just kind of keep things down to the streaming service. I could see them doing that. I could see them getting rid of Star Studios. Do they want the Bollywood stuff? I don't know. They might not see that that's something that they want to be involved in and just kind of sell those assets and kind of focus on the ones that they make. They could sell Disney Plus Hotstar. That could end up being merged in with one of the other streaming services with Reliance that they have. They might end up licensing the Disney content to them. I also wouldn't be at all surprised if just Disney Plus existed on its own in India without all of the Indian content. I think it would struggle to get as many subscribers, but Disney still want to have something in the country. I just can't imagine there not being a Disney Plus there. But they might just look at it and go, oh, it's just easier for us. We make more money from just like licensing it out. That's a key thing. So this is a big change. So we don't know how this is all going to happen, what's going to happen. Disney might not even do this. They might change around. We don't know exactly what's going on. So it's not necessarily that Hotstar is going to be merged in or so. We don't really know what's going to be happening with that. But also there's going to be, I would say there is going to be an international sort of trickle-out effect from what happens. Because if Disney does end up selling its Indian business, it does have, you know, little notes and stuff going around the world. For example, on Hulu in the United States, you've got lots of Hotstar content. Is that content eventually going to, is it just then technically licensed, and then will at some point, will that go? Will that be moved on? Here in the UK, Disney operate Hotstar, and in Canada, they've got the same. They've not integrated that in with Disney Plus here. So will that be sort of sold as part of the deal? I would imagine so, because most of that content is from like Star Studios and stuff. That could be something to be looking at. Also, what's going to happen with the Star branding? So ever since Disney brought Fox and got hold of the Star branding, they have been using this as their catch-all, generic kind of general entertainment brand. So obviously on Disney Plus in most countries we have the Star Hub, and in there you've got all the stuff from studios like FX and stuff like that. So none of this content's going to go. It's not being sold or anything like that. It's just literally the branding of Star could be a potential thing that could go with Disney Star. That's the thing I could quite easily see happening. So that would be, they maybe rebrand the Star Hub to Hulu. That would get them around it once they complete the purchase of Hulu. You can just change that logo and that will fix in line with the US, and therefore that would be easier for them. There's also rebranding of linear channels, like for example in the Netherlands, they're actually only just rebranding the Fox channel to Star. So what does that mean? I mean, this deal might take a few years to go through, so there are some issues with that. Down in Latin America, there was a whole host of Star channels as well. They're going to rebrand them. There's the whole issue of Star Plus in Latin America, a streaming service which is kind of like a hybrid between Hulu and ESPN Plus. There's been a lot of pressure on Disney to kind of do the same thing that they've been doing everywhere else, of merging in Star Plus and Disney Plus together to make one app, the one app to rule them all with, you know, the entertainment and all the bits and pieces in there. They might end up maybe making that into ESPN Plus and moving the Star stuff into Disney Plus to align with what it's like going to be like in the US and other countries. Lots of stuff going on. It doesn't necessarily mean it's all going to happen straight away. They could do the deal next month, and it could take a year or two maybe to get it through, because there's going to be some regulatory issues that India are going to apply on it. They might have to sell some of the assets. Disney might have to keep hold of stuff, because it will create a powerhouse in India if they were to combine. I don't think this deal is going to have a huge impact for most people outside of India. But yeah, this is a huge move. I would be really surprised if Disney completely gave up on having Disney Plus in India. That seems to go against everything that they're trying to do. We're trying to build up. But Wall Street, while they probably wouldn't react too well to losing maybe 40 million subscribers from Disney Plus, that's a huge amount. Wall Street is going to love if they're making money, and that's the key thing. If they then turn around and go, well, Reliance are now paying us this much money for our content, and we make money, we're no longer losing money in India, and yeah, that could be a way of them doing something. That's a way of counteracting. If this was like 2-3 years ago, I don't think Wall Street would have liked it. They would have wanted those numbers, but you know, as we saw with Succession, the Indian numbers sometimes don't always look great, and so this is one of those things for Disney to sort out. It is very weird. I'm not entirely, like I said, I personally believe if Disney were to sell off those linear channels and the Star Studios and maybe sort of sell off some of the assets, that might be a way of just making Disney Plus more core. Whether or not this also means maybe in some countries like Indonesia and Thailand, where Disney Plus Hotstar is the brand, whether or not they get rid of the Hotstar branding there, that might be something that might has to happen if this goes through. Not necessarily saying they're going to close down or anything, that's just the branding might go. really, it's a very much a case of we don't really know what's going on, but there is some big deals and there's a lot of money here. Now, if you're talking $7 to $10 billion, that's exactly what Disney needs right now. You know, they're looking at selling off assets with like ESPN. Personally, I wouldn't mind them selling off some of their assets like A&E. You know, they have a huge amount of content in there which they don't really have full access to. They might as well get rid of that. But they are looking at getting rid of some stuff. Some ABC linear channels in it as well in America they're looking to sell off. If they sold off all of those assets, they would have a lot of cash to sort themselves out. And I think Disney are definitely restructuring themselves to be more focused on their core brands, creating core content that goes out to the world, and being a little bit more leaner and meaner. This definitely feels like in some way that the purchase of 20th Century Fox has caused them a lot of issues, because I think the pandemic come in and they weren't in a position to do anything that they wanted to. The situation with Hulu has taken a while to get sorted out, and they've just not really been able to utilize the branding. 20th Century Studios, it isn't as powerful as it once was, and hopefully moving forward they can kind of get behind maybe a proper brand and kind of push it a little bit more. But definitely things are changing in India, but I'd love to know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. Remember to go check us out over at what's on at disneyplus.com. Like, follow and subscribe, and I shall see you guys soon. Laters.